Now, I know not everybody is going to agree with me today, but I am going to rank every Spider Man villain that we have seen in a Spider Man movie. And I'm probably missing some out, but they were not really important enough to really be called the villains. Like some of the new Spider Man Brand New Day villains that we only see for 2 seconds. I do not count these. But let's get into it with the first villains. Oh, yeah, spoiler warning if you haven't seen Brand New Day, by the way. I am gonna do this in order of appearance. So we're gonna start off with the first Spider-Man movie from Tobey Maguire, and I'm gonna end it with Brand New Day. Now it's not just live action. That's what I wanted to do first, but it's gonna also include these Spider-Verse villains, which I also excluded some of these because there's also a Scorpion in there and a Green Goblin, but you only see these for a couple seconds, and I don't think they are that important to the story, so I did not include these today. But we're gonna have to start with the Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe. Now, I have a couple of things that we have to remember for this ranking. Do I like the design of the character? So, is the suit accurate, or do they just look good as a character overall? Is their motive like, do we understand it? Do they have a good motive to hate Spider Man? How does it rank? And just do I personally like this character or not? Because I know a lot of people like these characters because of, uh, nostalgia. Because the Spider-Man Tobey Maguire movies came out first, and a lot of people grew up with these. And I have watched these, of course, also back in the day. But I also just watched every Tom Holland movie in theaters. So maybe that takes something as well. But let's get started with the Green Goblin. Now, design wise, I think it's weird because he does look very good, but it's not comic accurate. But for some characters, that doesn't matter because if you make it a great design for a movie that is not comic accurate, then it's okay. Then it's okay, which is the case with this one. But it's just funny that it's more of a metallic mask look and armor than it just being a sort of goblin like in the comics. But I think it still works, and also the glider. It's very uh, cool, iconic to see the glider, and it's awesome to see. It's just the first villain that we get, and it's just such a great one already. Now, motive. He just hates Spider-Man. He's just a rage baiter. Nah, it's not a rage baiter, but he just really hates Spider Man. He just got that so much hate for him. He actually just wants to kill all the members of the company that sort of kicked him out, I think, if I remember correctly. But Spider Man is there to stop him because, killing people, it's kind of illegal. So that's why he also hates Spider Man because Spider Man is in his way. Now, do I personally like him? I do think because we get three Green Goblins in all the Spider Man movies that I listed here today. He is, of course, the best one out of these. Also, design wise, for sure. But personally, I have Spider Man villains, not just for movies, but that I like more than the Green Goblin. So I, it's still gonna be an S tier, or I changed the tiers actually. I got Sinister Six for S tier, then A for amazing, then B for brilliant but lazy. These are all Spider-Man related, of course. Then the C tier is Gonna Cry, and then we got belongs in the Sony verse, from the Venom and Madam Web and Morbius, and so obviously Green Goblin is going in the Sony verse. No, I'm joking. Yeah, Green Goblin obviously gonna be in the Sinister Six. I do like that he also reappeared in No Way Home. That end suit for Green Goblin was kind of bulky, and I didn't like it there. So I do like the original design for the Green Goblin from Willem Dafoe. Yeah, that's it. First one in the S tier already, which is crazy because we're also going to Doctor Octopus right now, or Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2, who also appeared in No Way Home again. Did look a little different. I'm not sure which one I like more. I think the changes are visible when you look at them side by side, but when you're just comparing it in your head, then there's no real big difference in the or changes in the design. His motive is that he wants, the power of the sun in the palm of his hands, and Spider-Man is stopping him because he needs some material, and I don't know, Spider-Man knows where it is, or he's just stopping him from getting it. And also the arms, of course, took over the control of uh, Doc Ock. So that's why he's evil. That's why he's doing what he's doing, and that's what they also stop in No Way Home. So he becomes kind of a good guy in No Way Home. Other than that, the design, it's not too crazy. Also, not comic accurate, but it's okay because it looks accurate to what you would expect in the real world. Otherwise, it looks just very goofy. And personally, also, I have never really had a connection with Doc Ock. He's never been my favorite. But when I look at the others, I'm like, he's better than some of these here, of course. So he will also be in the Sinister Six. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep six people in the Sinister Six or less, of course. But I think he will also be in there for now. Next up, we have Sandman, whose design is, I think, the most perfect outside of the animation, but the most perfect from the live action, I think, because it just looks the same. Even the hair, it's the same hair. Other than that, his motive is that he just has a daughter who is sick and he needs money for his daughter. So he's, not gonna get a job, but he's gonna steal money as you do, when you need money. But Spider Man is there to stop him. So he doesn't like Spider Man because Spider Man doesn't want to save his sick daughter. No, Sandman, I think you are not wanting to save your sick daughter. Otherwise, you would have had a better plan. Also, personally, it sounds like I don't like a single Spider Man villain, but we're gonna get there, trust me. But I haven't really connected with this Sandman. I hope they do a Sandman in the future again. Same with Doc Ock and everything. Also, it's sad to see because these first three villains, Doc Ock, Green Goblin, and Sandman, have appeared in the MCU, but through the multiverse, of course. But that means that they can't really reappear in Tom Holland's movie, so we're gonna have to wait probably longer for them to even return to the big screen as a different actor or a new story with these characters because you're not gonna have the same characters twice in your universe unless this is Green Goblin, I guess. But I also wish we could have seen more of him turning into a big sand monster. We do see it, of course, but I think it could have been just a little better. So that's why I'm gonna put him in just amazing because he does do what he what he has to do. But I just wish there was even more sand. Just cover the entire city in sand. I know how big New York is, but try it. And next up, we have Venom, Eddie Brock. Not Tom Hardy Venom, but still Spider Man 3 Venom. Also, Sandman was the first villain here that survived, actually. That's insane. Spider Man just killing his villains. And Venom also dies. Venom. His motive is actually pretty solid, pretty reasonable. Spider Man took his girl and his job. I would also turn into a villain. I don't know how I would get the symbiote, but I would try to. The design wise, I mean, it's just a black Spider Man suit. It's not the big, bulky Venom, which is unfortunate that we didn't get to see that. But, it's Venom. It works. Personally, though, I think they could have done a lot more with this Venom, um, which is it's gonna be hard to say what I think of this Venom. When I think Spider-Man 3, I never go straight to Venom. I always think, oh yeah, Sandman and Harry Osborn turns into Green Goblin, but I kind of just forget about Venom, and he's also just dealt with very quickly, and how he was attached to Peter the whole time, and then just goes to Eddie Brock and I don't know. They could have explained it a lot more or went over several movies to just do it. So I think brilliant but lazy is going to be the one that he ends up in. Now we have Harry Osborn, Green Goblin, who, like I said, I think more of when I think Spider Man 3. But for some reason, also, like I said, the first person I think of is Sandman. So Harry Osborn is not the main villain of this movie as well. Also, he just turns to the good side, but still dies. There wasn't enough villainous for me here. Also, design wise, he looks way less green than his father did, and the motive, of course, was that Spider-Man killed his father. He thinks that happened, so that's why he doesn't like Spider-Man, which is a pretty good reason to hate Spider-Man. But it was also just denial because his father was a really bad guy. That's why I also gonna put him in brilliant but lazy because they just ended that story way too quickly for me. Now we're gonna get to the Andrew Garfield movies with the Lizard. Now the Lizard wants to turn everybody into a lizard, and his motive is well, he of course Dr. Kurt Connors only has one arm, and he wants to grow his arm back, so he gets some DNA from animals, and then with the reptile DNA, he turns himself into a lizard by accident, of course. But he thinks it's kind of a good cure, so he wants to turn everybody into a lizard. And of course, I do not want to be a lizard. Spider Man thinks the same. I'm not Spider Man, by the way. I know. But Spider Man just does not want everybody to turn into a lizard and also wants to cure Dr. Connors. But of course, he doesn't want that. So that's his motive, kind of. Design wise, he's naked, which is unusual because usually he does wear pants and a lab coat. And the face is also different than just a lizard. It's like a human lizard face, which is more uncanny than if you went the other way around, I think. So design wise, it's not the best. Motive, I mean, it's just what the lizard does. So I guess that's, a good motive for what the character is written for. Personally, though, I do like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, but with this one, the movie is fine. But I don't know. I feel like it could have the villain. I didn't feel the villain. I didn't feel it. So personally, with the lizard, I would go brilliant but lazy, but goes to the top. So in a what's that, B tier. Which brings us now to Electro, who also appeared in No Way Home. Same for the lizard, by the way. I do like Electro's design in No Way Home. I like it way better. The yellow lightning, because this blue lightning, it looks weird. You can see inside his head with all the electricity, but it's hard to look at. It's hard to look at. It's kind of disgusting. It's sad, of course, because his motive is that nobody ever saw him or noticed him, and then Spider-Man did, and then he turned into this kind of electric monster, and then still nobody really wanted to see him, or he felt betrayed, and Spider-Man got more attention, so he was kind of jealous of Spider-Man, and that's why he just wanted to get rid of Spider-Man so everybody could see him. So the design is not the best. The motive could have been something different, I think, for another movie. I hope in the future we get another Electro with a Spider-Man movie, even if it's just in the Spider-Verse, which I don't think they're gonna do, but it would be funny to see an alternate reality Electro again. I think, but if it wasn't for the No Way Home, he was gonna go in gonna cry, but that bumps it a little up to brilliant but lazy, and then I'm gonna put him below the lizard. Below the lizard is good. Then we get one of my least favorite characters. It's gonna be Harry Osborn again. Yes, as the Green Goblin again, but this time he sucks way more. This character is not only ugly but also annoying, which I guess maybe is the point. But let's just get started with the design. Even before he turns into the Green Goblin, he was already ugly. The haircut that this man has, the how do you have this hair when you're rich, Harry Osborn rich? I know you can afford a barber, but this man just couldn't, apparently, or not the right one. Maybe it was closed, but it just doesn't look good. So it's also already hard to watch this man, and you kind of want to skip the scenes, but then you miss out the story, which also isn't really there because all of a sudden he gets sick. He gets the Osborn sickness, and then just thinks he needs Spider-Man's blood to heal himself, but Spider-Man just doesn't want to give it. He just says no, I don't want to. So he just turns evil and then gets Electro to kill Spider-Man. He does, however, which I guess is very good about him. He does kill Gwen Stacy. So that's one thing that he does do right. I mean, he really broke Spider-Man after that. So you got to give it to him at least, but it doesn't really save him that much. I think he really belongs into the Sonyverse. We already kind of heard what I think of this character um, through the design. Yeah, I don't like him. Then Rhino, wasted potential here. I hope we get to see another Rhino in the future soon. I know he was in the Craven movie, which I unfortunately haven't watched. Maybe it's not unfortunate actually for me, but I will watch it. It's on my path. You know, it's my canon event to watch these movies. I just haven't been there yet. Um, but he starts off as just a normal criminal. I mean, his motive is that he just wants money, I guess, or is just a criminal. So he hates Spider Man because Spider Man stops criminals. Um, Design wise, it's a big chunky suit. We don't really see much of it. It's only at the end, so it's kind of just stands there and does nothing. There's not much really here. I think I'm just gonna put it in gonna cry because of what we got. I mean, it's Rhino, but I think if it went on longer or if it was more in the movie, that would it could have gone to belongs in the Sonyverse because it really wasn't that good. Also, like I said, I do want to see a Rhino in a movie though. Again for Spider-Man, and I think it can happen with the MCU versions because he, of course, didn't teleport in No Way Home. But I also just kind of want to see different villains for Tom Holland's Spider-Man, or even when we get a new Miles Morales in the MCU. So there's that. Now going to the first Tom Holland villain, we got the Shocker. I'm only gonna pick one Shocker out of the two because they're kind of the same character, and this one ends up being the Shocker, and not the other one. He kind of dies quickly, um, but it doesn't really matter. His motive is that he just works for the Vulture, so he's just a criminal who hates Spider-Man because Spider-Man doesn't like criminals. Yes, very well written. Personally, I mean, I want to see more of the Shocker, but not this Shocker. I want to see a new Shocker that is actually like a supervillain, you know, which he is not. So personally, I would like it, but not this one. Design wise or suit wise, he doesn't really have a suit. I mean, the colors give away Shocker vibes, but it's not it. So I would say belong in the Sonyverse, but not as bad as Harry Osborn. Next up is the Vulture. Finally, we get a good character again. One of my favorite actors is Michael Keaton, so you know I have to like this. From the suit wise, it's just it looks scary, which is what you want when you see him in the night as a vulture sitting on this rooftop. Also, motive. He just wants to get rich of rich people. That's why he's a vulture. So he grabs kind of their stuff. This time it's from Tony Stark. And then he wants to sell that or use it for his own good or bad, actually, and then get rich off of that. Also, Peter Parker is dating his daughter, which he finds out. So, you know, it's kind of mixed because he doesn't want to kill him, do damage to his daughter, but I just really like him. And I think he's a really good actor as well. It's one of my favorites. I personally like Vulture more than these two. I know it's a shocker to everybody. Well, not the shocker to everybody, but it's a shocker that I like the Vulture more than Green Goblin and Doc Ock. But it's my opinion. It's my opinion. But don't click away, please. Next up, we're going into the Spider Verse with a new Doc Ock, which is a female Doc Octopus, played by Catherine Hahn. She does appear for, well, she does do something as a villain in this movie, not like the others. Like I said, Scorpion and Tombstone and another Green Goblin. It's a nice reveal. The first time I watched it, I was like, "Oh, she is Doc Ock," which is nice. But other than that, she doesn't really do that much. I do like the design, of course, and I do like the movies. But compared to these other characters, I'm just gonna put it in gonna cry more than Rhino, though, of course. The Prowler as well is a really great character. I mean, that theme, it's just awesome every time you hear it. Design wise, love it. I think it's the best design of the villains from the first movie for sure. I love purple. The reveal of it, being his uncle for Miles is also great, but he does ends up dying quickly in the movie. I do think he's amazing though. I'm not gonna put him in Sinister Six because I think we're gonna see more of the Prowler in Beyond the Spider Verse, which I'm excited for. But he just ends up in being amazing villain. Now Kingpin, who by the way, his motive was just being a criminal and working for Kingpin, which Kingpin's motive is that he just wants his family back because they all died and he wants to pull them out of the multiverse. So he just makes this super collider, which, you know, brings out the events of Spider Verse and Across the Spider Verse, which pulls out all the other Spider Man. Design wise, it's funny to look at because he is so big, but other than that, I think Prowler really was the big standout villain of the movie. Kingpin was still great. I'm gonna still put him in amazing though, but at the bottom of the three that we have over there. Now, going back to Tom Holland Spider Man movies, we got Mysterio. This one's gonna probably shock everybody. Not a shocker again, but Mysterio. I really personally like Mysterio. Before this movie came out, Mysterio was already my favorite Spider Man villain just because of the design and the tricks that he does. And when I saw the way they did the tricks in the movie, I just think it's really beautiful and believable, especially when Spider-Man thinks that Mysterio got shot, and then that was all still a trick to get Spider-Man to tell names of his friends. I think it's really great. Also, suit design. I think him and Sandman are the best designs for the suit or the outfit or whatever you want to call it. I think I like him more than Vulture, or they can go back and forth, but these are my two favorite Spider-Man villains that I've seen in movies so far. So I'm gonna put him in Sinister Six for sure. And yeah, I don't know what else I just have to say. I just personally really like this character. And he does get the most damage for Spider-Man because he's the reason that we even got No Way Home, because he told everybody who Spider-Man is. And you can kind of also think, well, then that's also the reason why he had to make sure that MJ and Ned, so his entire friends and family, doesn't even know who he is anymore. So that's all because of Mysterio. Like 2 movies after his own movie, there's still damage of what he has done, and I think that's just awful. A thing that he has done as a villain, it's like the greatest thing you could have done. I think he's really the best villain that we have seen. Now going to the spot for Across the Spider Verse, it starts off as a comedic villain. Spider-Man created him by destroying the collider and throwing a bagel at his head. But I do think that we don't see too much of him in the Across the Spider-Verse movie, but I think we will obviously see way more of him in Beyond the Spider-Verse. I do think he is great. I want to put him in Sinister Six because I know he's going to do great. Otherwise, it would have just been amazing. But I think you can do so much with him, and I didn't know who the Spot was. I think a lot of people had this, but now he's just like he's a scary villain if you really think about it and what he does. So that's why he goes into the Sinister Six. Also, Miguel or Spider-Man 2099. He's not really the villain of the movie, but the antagonist. Well, kind of the same thing. His motive is, of course, that he knows that Spider-Man or Miles Morales is not supposed to be Spider-Man, and he tries to stop it. Suit wise, it's amazing. I'm gonna do this. It's another Sinister Six, so I got my 6 people here. I had to get 6. I think they're in this order though. Well, I'm gonna put him before the Spot. But I think these designs, and also just because of this movie and how it looks, they are very great, and I love that about these characters. It is weird because he is just another Spider-Man, but I think it's all right, and we're gonna see a lot more of these characters anyway, so they can get bumped up higher, hopefully not lower, and that's why he's in the Sinister Six. The next up is Scorpion from Brand New Day. Don't see too much of him. I do like the Scorpion and what he could have been. He could have been a lot greener. He could have worn more of a mask as well. But I do like that we see finally this version of Scorpion. We obviously already saw him in Homecoming. Personally, I just like him. His motive is just that he's a criminal. I'm gonna kind of put him in Amazing, but I hope we see more of him. Jean Grey. Now, her motive is that she wants to find her sister who was taken from her. what her reason is to get to Spider-Man. Not sure. I don't really remember from the movie. I don't think it was that important. Also, she's not a traditional Spider-Man villain, which I don't like. I think they could have used a lot more. It was already based on the game, so I wish we saw another villain in this movie as the main villain and not Jean Grey. But I do think it's, still a great villain for the movie. I just wished we could have gotten someone else. Suit wise, not the best. It's just normal outfits. And personally, like I said, I wish we could have gotten another villain. Now, for the story, it works, of course. They're gonna bring the X-Men into these movies, but I just wish we got another person. So, other than that, for Jean Grey, I did like what they did with her, though. But her being the villain for a Spider-Man movie that was just such a great movie for like video game Spider-Man. I wish that they used a different villain. I already mentioned this in my review of the movie, but I wish that they used Mr. Negative. Maybe it would have felt too much like the Spider-Man video game then, but I think introducing Jean Grey as the villain in a Spider-Man movie was not the way to do it for me personally. Now I still really like the movie though. It takes nothing away from that, but I think it would have worked better for me if that happened. That's why I'm gonna put Jean Grey in the gonna cry, and then over here, I think that's kind of what I think of her. Now, who are the characters that I still want to see in a Spider-Man movie though? Because I have a couple, and I have them written down right here. I still want to see already, like I said, Mr. Negative. I think that could really work in a Spider Man movie. None of these have to be specifically for Tom Holland. I just mean like a Spider Man that we ever still get in the future. Doesn't have to be live action, could also just be animated. But I just want to see new stuff done with these characters. And I'm going to talk about characters that haven't been done before for a Spider-Man specific, because the second character I have here is Craven. Now he of course has been played before by Aaron Taylor Johnson, but he hasn't been a Spider-Man villain, and that's what I'm talking about. I think we just need to see this. It's such an iconic character for Spider-Man, and then I think there's like 11 movies right now, and for him not to be have done already, it's kind of weird. It's also because we have three Green Goblins at this point, so I think we just need to give other people a shot. Uh, Other than that, I have Beetle. I only know about this character because of that animated Spider-Man show, and also I own that one Lego set from back in the day, the Daily Bugle. It came with Doctor Doom and also the Beetle. That's how I know this character, so I think maybe it's time for the Beetle to show up. I don't care in what shape or form. Like I said, could be animated, that could be really cool. I think you can do more with a character like that, but I just need to see it happen. Then I have the Chameleon. I know he was kind of introduced in Far From Home, but that wasn't really the Chameleon. That was just a character that was driving the bus. So I think we can do a lot more with the Chameleon. Just want to see Spider-Man go up against these different characters and what they would all do, because last I have Black Cat. It's not really a villain, but I think it's an iconic Spider-Man character that we just need to introduce already. I know she has already sort of been in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, I think, but she never really got into the character of Black Cat. She was just still the alter ego. Now, characters I want to see be redone. First off, I have Electro. It was kind of obvious already saying this throughout the video that I want to see more of Electro. Um, Sticking with not specifically the design of No Way Home, but I think going more in that direction, I think is better than being the fully blue Electro. Next up, I have Rhino, which I already mentioned as well. I think we can get a better Rhino. So I'm gonna check out the Craven movie soon, but I think we can do better, even if it's just a mechanical suit, which I'm fine with. But make it just a better Rhino and make him part of the movie and not just the end. Venom, I want to see redone of course, everybody wants to see this Venom versus Spider-Man at this point. It's been a while. They've been teasing it everywhere. I think we're gonna get it soon, hopefully, though. And then the Prowler in the live-action movie for a Miles movie in the MCU, probably. I think that can be really great. It doesn't have to be Donald Glover specifically. You can just get any actor. Um, but yeah, also I think Hobgoblin is for the characters that we haven't seen. By the way, it doesn't have to be Ned, but I think if you're gonna go the route with Tom Holland Spider-Man, and if he's gonna take MJ back, MJ already had a boyfriend. If he then is gonna turn evil because he finds out, hey, someone stole my girl, then, we have seen it before. People going after Spider-Man because Spider-Man took their girl. It's not an original idea anymore, but it can happen if then that character, because he didn't really get a name, I think, but if that character then becomes the Hobgoblin for some reason, I think that can work. This was my ranking, however, of the Spider-Man villains that we have seen in the movies. Do you agree? Probably not, but it's my list, so I don't care if you don't agree. But I do care if you let me know who your favorite villains are or who your least favorite villains are that we have seen in the movies. Also, I guess let me know who you still want to see or want to see redone in the movies. I think we can have fun ideas for that. And then I will see you all in the next video. So